My name is Davorah Tzipora Bas Mordechai. I was born on Purim Katan, the day after the yortzeit of the daughter of the Rogachover Gaon, Rebbetzin Rachel Citrin, who was killed with my mother's family during the Holocaust. Both of my parents are Holocaust survivors who grew up in the world of the shtetl, where everyone was Torah observant. But like most survivors after the war, they abandoned the holy life. Fortunate for me, my parents went to an Orthodox shul for all the Yom Tovim and sent me to Cheder. From age 7 through 9, I walked to shul on Shabbat while my parents went to work. My mother kept a kosher kitchen, and also on Pesach we were very kosher. I did not realize it, but I was 7 years old. I was a Baal Teshuva by myself. Because my mother's parents were killed on Purim, we never celebrated Purim, and because my father's family was killed at Panari, he refused to do many halachas, especially Havdalah. All in all, my Jewish life was very sad, but I always clung to Hashem in my heart. My parents spoke only Yiddish at home. One day I heard on the Yiddish radio about a frum community being built in Monsey, New York. I immediately made a plan in my head to go to my Cheder rabbi and ask him to help me find a new family that kept Shabbat in Monsey. However, after several days of pondering, I realized that I could never cause my parents so much pain by running away from them. Shortly after, we moved to another town with fewer Jews, no shul, and hardly any Yiddishkeit. After growing up in an Americanized home, I was sent to college, a place my parents believed would make you successful in life. Many frum people still today believe college is like a yeshiva, but you just don't learn Torah. Let me warn all of you, even 50 years ago, college was not a place of higher learning. It was and is only a place of higher Sodom and Gomorrah. I was exposed to every Avera, that's sin, practiced in Mitzrayim. On a daily basis, people were getting high on every substance they could find: LSD, cocaine, marijuana, even glue or cough syrup. Everyone was exposed to or practiced homosexuality, abortions, alcoholism, orgies, and nudity on a daily basis. Cursing was the norm. It took me many years to come out of this nightmare. Finally, I met my husband, who was Jewish. We had tried to start a traditional home. We had 3 children, a house, and a business. However, something was still missing. One night after serving my husband a trefa steak, he looked at me and said, "Can't we buy kosher meat? My mother always bought kosher meat." I felt as if my neshama was hit with lightning. A great feeling of excitement surrounded me, and I said, yes, of course. I will go first thing in the morning. I'll get kosher meat. The next morning I ran to the kosher market like a child in a candy store. Not only did I get meat and chicken, but I bought everything I could that was kosher. I made a netter to myself that from then on, everything in my kitchen and house will be kosher. On my way out, I saw a newspaper with rabbis on the cover, so I grabbed that too. I began reading the frum newspaper every week, which unfolded to me a whole new world of Torah life. Together, my husband and I, little by little, took on new mitzvahs. With Nisim from Hashem, we found our way to Queens, New York. There, we discovered a whole new world of kosher markets, bookstores, kosher restaurants, and shurim. Climbing the Teshuva ladder, as all Baal Teshuvas quickly learn, is fraught with challenges big and small. My husband and I quickly learned that this climb, that we often find ourselves solo. Once we began to keep halachas, the separation from family events began. No more mixed dancing weddings, no more parties on Shabbat, and no more female rabbis. But Hashem is merciful. Hashem gave us great nechama by revealing to us the holy families we came from. I discovered that both my parents were descendants of the Kohanim. My mother's side was connected to the Rogachover Gaon and Lubavitch. My father's side was connected to Rabbi Chaim Leib Soloveitchik, the Brisker Rav, the Chafetz Chaim, and the Friedricher Rebbe. My husband's family came from tzaddikim also. His great-grandfather was a Talmid Chacham who never worked, he only learned Torah, and he was a descendant of the Ruzhanover Rebbe. Not only did Hashem bless us with holy ancestors, he also gave us a zechut to meet many of the great Kiruv rabbis of our time. Among them, of course, being Rabbi Yaron Reuven. The first time we met Rabbi Reuven, he ran up to my husband and gave him a big hug and a smile. Harav Reuven's energy and love for every Jew is unmatched. Besides his great warmth and love for Jews is his total love and devotion to Hashem and his Torah. It was not only his great talent for speaking or his vast knowledge of Torah that shook us whenever we heard him speak, but it was his total, relentless avodah and mesiras nefesh for each and every Jew. In Rabbi Reuven, we saw a rabbi who carries out his mission to save the children of the King of all kings as if his own life depended on it. This is the medicine needed by every Baal Teshuva after years of suffering, a suffering that Harav Reuven knows firsthand. It was exactly 4 years ago when we had the zechut to go to a shur in Queens with Rabbi Reuven, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, and Rabbi Alana Nava. This shur was called A Night to Remember, which you can find on YouTube. 3 of the greatest rabbis in Kirov of our time up on a stage together. Unfortunately, they lamented that no other rabbis were willing to join them. The message was of Achavas Yisrael, the time has come, the redemption is near. Take the hand of every Jew, not just love every Jew, but we must help every Jew and mentor every Jew and bring every Jew back in Yiddishkeit. Hundreds of people attended that shur that night. We knew all 3 rabbis, who each one is a powerhouse by himself in Kirov. However, still today, we need so much more before Mashiach comes. After seeing how these rabbis devote themselves day and night to Kirov, my husband and I decided to do what we could to help. We are in our late 60s, but we made the effort. Harav Reuven kindly sent us many boxfuls of CDs, Asher Yatzar cards, and promo cards. For 2 years, my husband and I went around to many states in New England delivering these materials. We went to New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut. We went to stores, restaurants, and bakeries, any place that would let us leave our Rabbi Reuven's materials. Go ask any Baal Teshuva, what was your most frustrating challenge along the way? The answer will most likely be the lack of support from the people who say they are in Kirov. Organizations, rabbis, and other religious communities whom we thought for sure would run to help us. First, we would hear the words donations. Then we heard, come for sushi. But we've had enough sushi and other treif our whole lives. Now we are in need of kosher stuff. We want to learn halacha. We need to know chumash. We must understand hashgacha. Their reply would be, no, don't go too fast. You'll fall. It's too much. We don't think you can handle it all. Wait till you're ready. There once was a Jewish town in Poland called Chelm. The people there were very simple-minded. In the center of Chelm was a huge bridge. In the middle of the bridge, there was a large hole. As time went on, the hole grew bigger and bigger. Most anyone or anything going over the bridge fell through below to the ground injured. The simple-minded people of Chelm did not know what to do, so they turned to their elders of Chelm for advice. The brilliant elders came up with the idea to build a hospital under the bridge, so that when people were injured after falling through, they could be treated immediately. So all the people agreed, and a hospital was built under the bridge. As the hole in the bridge grew bigger, more hospitals were needed. Now they needed to decide who would go to which hospital. One hospital was used for people who wore white socks. Another hospital was used for people who wore fur hats. And the next was used for people who wore white yarmulkes. And no deviations from the rules were ever allowed. Along came Be'EzratHaShem.org, also known in Helm as Be'Ezrat HaShem Torah family, with their Torah machines to repair the destructive hole. They came with Torah CDs, Asher Yatzar cards, Torah books, tefillin, and much more. They worked round the clock, 24 hours a day, and in time filled the hole. All the hospitals emptied out, and those running them fled the scene, shouting all the way, "Look at what Be'Ezrat HaShem has done. It's all their fault." My husband and I had the zechut to attend a private shur given by Rabbi David Yosef, the son of Harav Avadia Yosef Zatzal of Israel. Rabbi Yosef did not speak about emunah or betochen. The first words he spoke were, "We must take all the Jewish children out of public schools. Each and every Jewish child is entitled and must have a Torah education. We in Israel just placed 1,300 children in Torah institutions. But that's not enough. There are thousands of children lost to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They do not even know how to say Shema Yisrael. And I personally say, every day thousands and probably millions of children sit in public school, which is an Auschwitz for the neshama. Who cannot cry? How can millions of the Torah followers today continue to ignore this spiritual holocaust? Every week we hear about children off the derech and children from homes doing drugs. Did not Hashem say if we take care of his children, he will take care of ours? Be'Ezrat HaShem has her fingers on the pulse. Rabbi Yaron Reuven, along with all his supporters, are forging ahead 24 hours a day with unstoppable devotion to Torah and the holy Jewish nation. I can tell you because I personally am in touch with Rabbi Reuven and have seen his devotion to Emet. Thank you, Rabbi Reuven, for your great love and Mesiras Nefesh for Am Yisrael. As a child of Holocaust survivors, I'm asking Hashem to bless you, your family, and all your supporters with Hatzlacha to end the spiritual Holocaust we have today. My dear sisters of Kol Yisrael, I want to tell you a story. Once there was a man walking by a park. He heard a child crying, and as he approached the park, he saw a small boy sitting next to a tree. "Why are you crying?" the man asked. "I'm crying because I want to go home. I was playing hide and seek with my friends, and then suddenly they all left me here, sitting by this tree." The man looked at the boy and said, "My dear child, you are not tied to the tree. Get up and go home. You're free to go." It is only in our imagination that we believe we are tied up. We think we cannot do what we want to do because of what others will say to us or what others will think. But the truth is, what will Hashem say if we do not follow his holy Torah? The world today is a mess. Abominations run rampant. The only way to clean up this mess is with sinuas. Today we are at war to save our neshama and our neshamot of our children and family members. Jewish women have the koyach and have special powers to fulfill all the halachas that we can. It is the nature of most women to worry about how they look. Exposed to the nations of the world, Jewish women have begun to follow their ways. I beseech you, daughters of Israel, to return to modesty, to follow the footsteps of our grandmas. Do not be intimidated by anyone. Do not shrink from derogatory comments like, "You look like a bubala," "You look like your safta," "You look like an old lady," "Why don't you dress nicer?" Go out in confidence, cover your hair and cover your bodies. I want to ask you a question. If you call your sister, your mother, or friends and tell them that they should not go out to treifa restaurants, non-kosher restaurants, or they should stop driving on Shabbat, what will they say? They will say, "Are you crazy?" And they will slam the phone down on your ear. So why aren't we slamming the phone down on them? We are following the path of Torah. We should only care what Hashem Yisbarach cares about, what he thinks. I hear women say, "What will they say if I don't go to that mixed dancing wedding? What will they say if my skirt is too long?" Did you ever ask yourself, who are they that you're thinking? Who are they that you're afraid of? They don't fear you or listen to you, so why are you afraid of them? When I started my Teshuva journey, I decided that as a child of Holocaust survivors, it would sound ridiculous for me to ever say that keeping any mitzvah was too hard, or I wasn't ready, or I was afraid of what someone else might say. We, the women of the Jewish nation, are all survivors of thousands of years of persecutions. What will we answer to Hashem? What will Hashem say? I am showing you my great-grandmother's Shabbat licht, which has been passed down for generations to the women in our family. My great-grandmother was a Bas Kohen. Her father was Aaron HaKohen from Lithuania. When the Germans invaded my mother's town in 1941, all the Jews were herded into the ghetto. My mother's father smuggled my mother and her 11-year-old brother out to a farmer, and he also smuggled the Shabbat licht out to other non-Jews. My mother's brother ran away from hiding to see his parents, but was shot by the Germans along the way and was buried by the road by some non-Jews. My mother survived the war alone out of a family of 8 and out of 4,000 Jews from her shtetl who were also killed. When she came out of hiding, she dug up her brother's body by hand with the help of her cousins who survived also with her and who had been students of YESHIVA before the war. And they reburied her brother with her parents, brothers, sisters, and all the other Jews who were killed. Among those murdered and buried with them was the daughter of the Rogachover Gaon, Rachel Citron, and the disciple of the Rogachover Gaon, Rabbi Alter Safran Fuchs Zatzal. Fortunate for us that Hashem has saved the special menorah, and my mother was able to retrieve it. And every night I light the Shabbos licht, and I thank Hashem for the blessing that He gave me, that my mother survived, and I had the zechut to carry on Shabbat by lighting the menorah of my great-grandmothers from the Kohanim.